It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McCagg on HabsCast.
Absolute wonderful day to talk hockey. Grant McCagg here. I'm going to be joined about 7:20 by Rocco Zappia, my old scouting friend that used to work for recruits. He went to the Ivan Hlinka tournament this year. Went there with Morgan, his girlfriend, and they took a week off and spent it in beautiful downtown Edmonton in the middle of summer. Tells you how dedicated he is to becoming a very notable amateur scout. Hey, Rocco is as passionate about the draft as I am, and it's great to see him investing his time and money into becoming as good an amateur scout as he can be. And I hope someday it ends up landing him a job in the NHL. We'll see. But hey, he's putting in the effort. He's a good scout. I like to hope that I mentored him a little bit in the 2 or 3 years that we spent together scouting. And hey, I still go to the games with him whenever Gatineau and Ottawa, whenever there's a good prospect in town. We hook up and watch the game together as a rule. So looking forward to getting Rocco's takes on who impressed him at the Hlinka, and we'll get an early read on who he likes in the upcoming 2027 NHL draft. Today's big topic, though, first of all, David Reinbacher. It's an interesting one because I put out a poll today, and it's basically gone viral. It's been already double the votes that I usually get in the polls, but I guess this one's one that caught people's fancy. I just asked, what will be the bigger key to the Habs taking the next step here this year? And about 70% said that it would be Reinbacher. Just a sec, I'll get it up here. I'll share the screen. Not always the smoothest producer here, but I try. All right, I didn't already have this up, so that doesn't help. Here we go. You should be able to see that. No, you can't. No, not that one either. All right, we'll put that up. Now, which of these would make the biggest difference for the Habs this season? Demidov, 75 to 80 points. Slafkovský, 85 to 90 points. Kapanen, 25 to 30 goals. Or Reinbacher, a top 4 defenseman. Now, we've got 1,144 votes in 7 hours, which, like I say, shatters the old mark by quite a bit. Hey, I'm encouraged by this. I'm glad that people think that Reinbacher is the key to this season, because I agree. I agree 100%. That's what I would vote for as well. And almost 70%, 69.1% say Reinbacher becoming a top 4 D-man is the most important of these 4 things. I mean, look, Demidov getting 75 to 80 points. I think a lot of people almost expect that, right? I mean, it's not a huge jump from what he got last year. And Slafkovský, 85 to 90. Again, that's not out of the realm of possibility. I thought Kapanen 25 to 30 goals might get more votes, and that would be my second choice. And it's actually third in the polling, because if he scores like 28 goals this year, I think it's fair to say that he's proven he's nailed down that second line center spot, right? He's putting the naysayers to bed there, to sleep. Like, no, if that's one of the bigger, maybe the biggest question mark going into the year, along with, who's going to be the second right defenseman. And if he scores 28 goals, it means he's the second line center, and it means that he's playing well. Because I'm sorry, if you are a 25 to 30 goal scoring second line center who kills penalties and is good defensively, you are doing the job. And it would answer that question mark about second line center definitively, because it would mean that he came back and filled that spot admirably this year. But as I say, Reinbacher, top 4 D man. Oh, he's now down to 69%. So, but still 69%. It's a clear runaway leader here is Reinbacher. I think most of us would love to see Reinbacher replace Carrier, right? Replace those minutes, be the second right D, not to have any of the lefty having to play on their offside. He was a top 5 pick, only one top 5 pick in the past 30 years, did not see some regular, have a good addition of at least 5 NHL games before the age of 22. He's going to become the second because he'll turn 22 during training camp. So, people would like to see it. Now, some folks could say, well, if he hasn't played by now, this means that he's probably a bust, right? Well, no, that's not what it means. It means that, he's taken a little longer to develop, and with good reason. If we look at, let's look at the stats here. In the last 3 years, 59, 69, 79, 80, 97, he has played 97, 102, 132 games in the past 3 seasons. Okay. That's not enough. Actually, he played in the World Junior Championships, 132. You could say 137 if you count the World Junior Championships. 137 games in the past 3 years. It's hard to fully develop with that little, that little experience over a 3-year period. So that's the main reason why he's still not a regular in the NHL. Like, let's face facts. He had the injury bug. He's had a couple of setbacks, and that's why. It's not because he's not good enough. I've put up videos. I've scouted him closely since his draft year. The kid's got it. He's going to be a solid second pairing right defenseman very soon, and perhaps down the road might even be the top pairing right defenseman. Yeah, better than Dobson. It's possible. He's certainly got more physicality to his game, and that that I think is going to be very important for this team in the future when it tries to win 4 rounds at Stanley Cup playoff time. I guess Mark's back. Mark, thank you for the $10. Sheldon got a toonie. Rhino will definitely be a major key. Yes. And Steve, this is the passion of Habs fans, right? My main concern with the defenseman and Reinbacher, this is the first post. When I was prepping for the podcast, I saw this. And Reinbacher is the expansion draft. We will only have 3 D to protect because our top 6 will soon include 6, 7 guys to protect with trade age. Hoping Matheson waives his no move clause for the draft. Well, Steve, we don't know when the expansion draft is, right? Let's not be worrying about. It's at least 3 years away, I would say. Might be 4 years before there's an expansion draft. That's why I haven't done a protection list, and I think it's at least 6 months away before they announce expansion, because I believe they're doing a study that just started that's going to be 6 months. So it's at least 6 months before they announce it, which means 2027, which probably means we're talking 2030s before there's an expansion draft. So trust me on this, a lot can change in that time. And you worry about that a couple of years down the road. But for now, it's not something that I think we should be too focused on. You know, regardless, because the Canadians have so much depth, quality depth in the organization. Regardless, they're going to lose a couple of really good players. It's just, you know, the good teams are going to lose good players. It's not something that it's going to be avoidable. It's going to happen, right? And but 3 years from now, which is likely when the expansion draft will be, the Canadians will have a lot better idea. Things will change, right? Um, who knows who the top 6, 7 defensemen will be in on the Canadians in 3 years' time. If you look at Montreal's roster from 3 years ago to today, it's, you know, maybe 25% the same players, 25 to 30% of the same players. I don't see that much of a turnover over the next 3 years because I think most of the key positions are in place now, and it's a young core, but there'll still be change, and there'll be surprises, and some guys will regress, some guys will surprise. We'll have a better idea in a couple of years, but for right now, I don't think keying on or worrying about the expansion draft is going to be something that we should be doing. Now, it's the other thing about this that's as I was saying, let's not even consider that. I honestly think, as Sheldon is saying, Rhino will definitely be a major key, and anyone anyone calling Rhino a bust is showing their ignorance. Yes. Absolutely, I agree with that. Like, it's just this is something that I got together here just to give you an idea. Okay, defensemen who were not established NHL players by 22 but became solid NHL defensemen. And this is in recent times, obviously. Darren Radish, okay, didn't become an NHL regular till age 20. Till age 25. Disregard that year in there. That was the year he was drafted, I guess. Ryan Pulock, NHL regular at age 23. It took him 3 years in the minors. Thomas Harley, took him till 22 before he started to find his game in the NHL. And look at him now. Devon Taves, NHL regular at age 24. I mean, these are all guys that, become pretty damn good NHL defensemen. Jake Muzzin, NHL regular, mid-20s. Mackenzie Weegar, mid-20s. Gustav Forsling, he had to go on friggin' waivers, right? I mean, Carolina waived him, and before he started to find his game in his mid-20s. Johnny Boychuk, NHL regular, age 25. Like, there's been a lot of examples through the years, and like, that's just a few. But lots of defensemen did not fully develop until at least 22 years of age. Typically, I think the stats say you don't become a regular NHL defenseman on average till 23, 24 years of age. So, yes, because he was a top 5 pick, it's rare that they are already playing at the NHL level. But again, when you consider the fact that he's played 132 games in the last 3 years, that's why. It stalled his development, not getting the most important thing for a young NHL defenseman is repetition, experience. You got to get the experience. And he hasn't had the repetition that's needed the past 3 years. Look, a good example too is Logan Mailloux, right? Logan Mailloux only played fewer than 100 OHL games, and I kept stressing it. Look, he's not going to be pro ready in 1 or 2 years, even though he was a first round pick. He would need time because he only played 100 games in the OHL, and it's so important to get that experience. And even the start of last year when he first went to St. Louis, and everyone was jumping on, oh look, he's going to be a bust, right? He's minus 20 in his first. Well, it's because he has to get used to. He needed experience. By the end of the year, were people saying, "Oh, that was the biggest steal"? Some were saying that when it first happened, the trade, biggest Montreal trade steal in history, getting Bolduc for Mailloux. And I would say, well, hold on, let's just wait here. And sure enough, by the end of the year, he was in their top 4, playing 20 plus minutes a game, and his plus minus almost completely turned around as his ice time went up, and he got more comfortable in the NHL. Right, Mailloux is going to be a regular, solid defenseman for St. Louis, probably for the next decade now. He just needed time. He needed the experience. He needed to adjust to the speed, the forechecking, the speed, size. You don't have a lot of time to make decisions in the AHL and then especially the NHL, especially coming from junior hockey, or especially coming from Switzerland to the AHL, and then getting behind the 8 ball because you got injured and missed a large chunk of a couple of seasons. So fully confident that Reinbacher at some point this year is in the Canadiens lineup, and he's not playing Jack Iyer, Struble type minutes. It's I have a feeling that it'll be and I think that they're looking at it that way too, right? Because he hasn't had a lot of minutes, time on ice in the past 3 years. They may even say, well, we think he's going to need to play a half year, quarter year, half year in Laval, 20 minutes a game, 25 minutes a game, get that much more time on ice before we bring him in. But when we do, it's going to be it's going to be second pairing, full-time position. And at some point in the second half of this season, when it really counts, right? When the Canadiens, because I think they are going to need David Reinbacher as a regular defenseman next playoff if they want to compete for a Stanley Cup. It was a missing piece last year for the Canadiens, not having the big, mobile, crease clearing right defenseman of any description last year. Carrier, that's not him. He's not big enough. Dobson's not overly physical. I mean, he's a great defenseman, but physical crease clear wouldn't be the first description that you would have of Noah Dobson. So I'll get to a couple more questions here, and we'll get to Rocco. He's sitting in the green room there, and we'll bring him on in a couple minutes. But if it's Houston, are they going to build a new rink? Cappy will be the guy. Yeah, on right defense. Will they use Toyota Center that the Rockets use? Oh, lots of people talking about Houston. I hope he gets in camp, plays well, and starts. Yeah. Radish is one more. Did they? Yeah, well, I put him. He was the first one I mentioned there, Mark. Late to the show again, my friend? Okay, look, we'll circle back to this, but Rocco's waiting, so let's bring him in here. There's the man right there.
How you doing?
Not too badly. How are you?
Great. I'm exhausted. It was a
jet
long
lag?
week. I don't know about jet lag, just 18 games in 5 days.
Oh boy, you yeah. So you and the missus didn't get a lot of sightseeing in. It was sit in a cold rink.
Pretty much. She thought she was signing up for half a vacation, and I put her right to work. So she did photo and video and social media all week and recorded player interviews, and yeah, she was a huge help. But we had one day off. We got to the mall. I guess that's the cool thing to do in Edmonton is go to the mall. So we went to the mall.
Oh, you did go to the mall. Okay, good.
Oh yeah. What a sight to see. Just store. It was cool. There's a couple ice pads in there. Played at the arcade,
Yeah.
but I mean, whatever. It's a mall. She wanted to go.
Right.
We went.
Well, I haven't been, so never been to Edmonton actually. When I went out west, it was little further south than that. But maybe someday I'll get to see the world famous Edmonton Mall. But I'm glad she at least got to do that. You didn't just keep her in the friggin' rink the whole 7 days, Rocco. But good stuff. So I guess the big summit doesn't have to be held. Saying what's wrong with Canadian hockey. We're back. We've got a gold medal around our necks again, and all of the complainers, all the complaints have died down a bit after the 8-1 shellacking of the U.S. in the gold medal game.
Yeah, seems like the nightmare is over, but people like to overreact. You're not going to win every tournament. The Americans won a few tournaments, and good for them. We got this one back. Now, people want to point to maybe you're not sending the Americans' best squad. Yeah, well, that's fine. We don't send our best to the U18s or the World Juniors. So
right.
You have it both ways. And this turn, it was Canada's turn to win it. And when you have all the best players, 3 best players in the tournament on your team, plus the best depth, plus the goaltending is not a question mark which is a nice change for Team Canada. Goaltending was not even a discussion point all week because it was good, which is what you want. Yeah, that's a recipe to win.
Yeah, for sure. No, solid effort. They just got stronger as the tournament went on. Yeah. I know it's early in the draft process, so to say like which guys to you look like top 10, we'll say candidates, and then that way, because there's other guys that weren't at the tournament as is always the case that are in the discussion, and there's a couple of Russians especially. But for you, if I were to tell you like who it didn't look like there were a lot of surefire top 10 guys, but there were probably 3 or 4 that I saw. What would you who would you say at the tournament looked like decent candidates to be top 10 picks?
Top 10. So I think you're obviously looking at DuPont for sure. He was, he's going to be a top 10 pick. That one we could say pretty certainly.
Oh, yeah.
Things would have to go super south for him not to be at least in the top 10. And there was instances there where he could completely take over shifts, and he did on several occasions. And yeah, you know what? There's sometimes maybe he turned the puck over a little bit, but he forced way more turnovers than he gave up. And he plays so aggressively defensively, which is what allows him to end play so quickly and create those offensive opportunities. So that's going to come with the odd time where maybe it wasn't the best time to do it. But he, like you said, everyone on that team, and him included, got stronger as that tournament went on. I do think that the 2 other defensemen, Brock Cripps and Malik Letellier, could be in that discussion. Cripps will be very much of a factor of how much he dominates offensively. If he puts up Zane Parekh type numbers out there this year, you could hear that talk, especially being at a scarce position. Now, more than likely, he's not top 10 just because of the size factor. That should tend to drop him a little bit. But the talent's there, and I do want to leave the door open to the possibility that he becomes viewed as a really high-end offensive defense prospect this year, which would open that conversation for him. Letellier's got now, like, there's a lot of small D this year, but I did like Cripps. I actually thought he was good defensively, which is usually.
I want to interject for a sec. Because We talked last night, Rick and I, yesterday, and I brought up the fact that I think he's solid defensively at the junior level. Like the guy competes his ass off, and he's just so intelligent. Like he reminds me defensively to a certain degree to Lane Hudson in just how he just about always anticipates the play well, makes good reads, gets good leverage, and almost uses his lower center of gravity the way Hudson does to play a lot better, more effectively defensively than you normally would expect for an undersized defenseman.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. He's really intelligent, and he keeps such a tight gap on guys. He's able to use his feet and his mobility and his pivots so well defensively, and offensively. It's obvious. He has the puck on a stick, and he's a ton of fun to watch. He's quite clearly a highly cerebral offensive player. But the thing with these smaller guys is always, well, can they defend? And at least at this level, he checked off that box.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think he's a good defenseman in junior already. So that bodes well. I think if that part keeps improving, maybe even he grows a little bit. I certainly like him as a first round pick for sure. And I'm glad that you like him that much, because you having seen him live as often as you did reinforces what I've seen as, I think, a kid that should be a first round pick despite his size. Typically defensemen that size don't go in the first round, but I see a kid that should be a first round pick.
Yeah, and the eye test, that checks out after watching the tape, like what you're seeing on tape and all the good things he does on tape that you can see, that does check out in person as well. And when he's not in view of the camera, he's still doing the right things. He's able to track the play laterally when he's on the weak side of the play, and little things like that prevent odd man rushes and high end chances the other way. He does those things with his feet and his positioning. The times that he's not on screen, and then you can see how he is on camera with the puck. Obviously, he's dynamic, and his rush defending is quite good already. So, I'm a believer in Brock Cripps. Does he end up top 10? I don't know. He'd have to have a really big year, but I wouldn't put a really big year past him.
Yeah. Well, he was a top 2 pick in the Bantam draft, so there's that too, right? Like, the pedigree's there. The pedigree is there. So,
Yeah, I was really impressed. I was really impressed.
Okay, good. And obviously Malik, the Halifax Mooseheads defenseman, L'Italien, very smooth operator. He got better and better as the tournament went along, just like a lot of the Canadian players. Yeah,
I think he was, maybe a little nervous first game or so, and they're going to be. And it's August. Not every player, and the guy we'll talk about next this applies to big time. Not every player brings their absolute best game in a summer tournament, and you have to be wary how much stock you put into it. So coming in here, I'm looking for guys to open my eyes to their skill set. I'm looking to get a handle on the players, guys who had great tournaments that'll get them a little bump up, but I'm not going to really punish a guy who didn't bring his best game in August. But we'll get there, because L'Italien, I thought, did bring some of his best game, and like you said, he got better as it went on. But he's got all the tools in the world that teams are going to be looking for. And I think, as you saw, especially in those 2 medal round games, he's actually quite good with the puck when he decides it's time to be confident and wheel it around. So I do believe that there's a ton of upside with this player. His frame, I mean, I'm not short. I'm over 6 feet, and I'm looking up to him when I'm doing interviews like that. And he's big strapping young lad. And the defensive upside is as high as any defenseman I've seen so far for this class. There's a lot of smaller skill offensive guys that he won't be able to compete with in that sense. But in terms of shutdown potential, he's as good a bet as they come this year. And I do think he has the requisite puck skills and the mobility. And despite the odd pizza in the first couple games up the middle that were turnovers. I do think he reads the game decently well. I'll reiterate, they're 17 years old, and it's August. Mistakes are going to happen, which is part of what makes the tournament so exciting to begin with. I really like the package of tools, and I think he's just starting to scratch the surface of being comfortable within himself and learning exactly what his style of play and what style of play is going to get him to the pinnacle of his sport, which is the NHL. And
yeah,
I really think this is a strong candidate to be a top 10 pick.
Yeah, well, maybe even top 5. I think that's just when you look at it, just at this point, when I see him, based on what I've seen in the past and in the past few drafts, some players like, is he as good as Lev Shunov? Yeah, I like him as much as I did Lev Shunov, just as a comparison, and he went second overall. Obviously, we're both not huge Lev Shunov fans, but Dickinson, I've heard him compared to Dickinson. I see some of that. I don't know that he's as powerful a skater as Sam Dickinson, but might be a smarter player, I think.
Meaner defender too.
Right.
So
better defender.
But in terms of draft positioning, Dickinson went what, 12th, 11th? So right in around 10. That's probably a good place to start with this guy. Like, he'll probably be, we're going to put our preseason top 10 out sooner, or first round out probably sooner than later, and he'll probably be in our top 10 to start. I'd be surprised if Darren would have to really push me on it not to put him in the top 10.
Yeah, well,
and I know Darren likes him too, so he probably won't.
Yeah, no, I've got him at this point, but I have to see some other guys, obviously. Noon Schwander, I know you were a big fan going into the tournament of him. Looked at him, you had texted me and say he looks like a top 5 guy. Do you still feel that way about him?
I think he's definitely a top 5 candidate for sure. DuPont and those 2 Russian guys probably clear him. Skortsov and Privalov, they probably clear him for me. And then you're talking in the right range. You're looking at the Noyan Schwanders. You're looking at Lee Talier. You're looking at Sammy Nelson. Maybe one of the Swedes gets in there if they can get a little more. If he can, he's got some things, but the talent's there. And I guarantee you, there's probably 1 or 2 guys who we haven't even heard of yet who are probably going to be in the top 10 by the time Christmas rolls around. So
is Eklund Asp the other Swede that is in the top 15 discussion?
Yeah, for me, he is. I really, really like that guy, and he shows flashes of some absolutely super high-end playmaking ability with the puck. I think the way he sees the ice is pretty unique, especially for a guy that brings that kind of size and skill combination. He had so many near miss plays in this tournament that were just on the verge of being a really big highlight, whether a goalie made a great save on him or a teammate just couldn't finish the play. But I think this guy sees the ice really well, and he missed a lot of last year injured. So I think there's probably a little bit more element of rust to him than some of these other kids. And I watch him and I see all the tools where I'm like, wow, this is gonna click for you one day, and you might just be the best player on the ice. Yeah.
Obviously, Alexei Joseph going into the tournament, a lot of lists had him as a top 5 candidate. I think what we saw there, him dropping from second line center to fourth line center by the gold medal game, looking like he was having a little bit of trouble with the pace, I think. There's some inconsistencies there. Is he somebody that maybe dropped out of the top 10 for you right now, but is certainly capable of getting back into that top 10?
I think he's right around that for me. He certainly dropped a few spots, but like I mentioned earlier, there's only so much I'm going to punish a guy for not having his best game in the first week of August, right? And was the pace something that was a little bit, less than spectacular? Yeah, it was. but every kid at this point is going to have an issue or two. And, I look at a guy like back at Seneca, like you and I were talking, and everybody, not just us, but at the beginning of the year, the question was, is this guy a first or not? And then is he top 15 or not? And then he might be top 10. And then 2 days before the draft, you're saying scouts are telling you he might go top 5, right? So much can change in terms of a player's draft positioning. And that's a kid that saw leaps and bounds improvements throughout the course of the year. So why can't Joseph do the same thing? He's got a lot of the tools that are what he has can't really be taught. So there is a natural element that teams are going to be excited about that. And there's only so far down the list he's going to go. Did he have his best at the Hlinka? No, it wasn't his best, and he'll probably be the first one to tell you that. But you've seen him play better than that. I've seen him play better than that. It's there. So it's just a matter of how can he develop this season, and honestly, how can you use all these people kind of trash talking him a little bit? Not that we are, but there are people who are trash talking him. How can you use that as motivation and prove everybody wrong? Because if he gets going, top 10 and top 5 are both very realistic for him. It's just
there's a lot of tools there.
Exactly. So put it all together. And equally, I think you'd be pretty hard pressed to fall out of the first round, even if things don't pick up.
Yeah, no, he had a solid year last year at his age. Put up good numbers. Big kid, lots of tools, smart. We saw some smart plays from him during the tournament. I don't think you can drop him, and I don't know that there's a surefire 10 guys that you could rank ahead of him anyway, right? It's not.
No.
I don't think it's necessarily really strong at the top of the draft at this point. So, when you get to the 8th pick or 9th pick, and you're trying to make a list of top 10, you gotta, he has to be in the discussion for sure, right?
Yeah, like Roger McQueen hardly played any games that year, and he only fell so far, right? And there was different questions, but he had questions about him, but a lot of the same tools there. Radim Murtka, another massive guy who had some questions, but the tools are so enticing that these guys only fall so far, right? The only name I could really think of that dropped drastically even more than that was Rubric, and he still ended up an early second rounder.
Right.
So,
as far as Seneca goes, I had him top 5 like 3 months before the draft there. So it wasn't just NHL scouts 2 days before. We were scouting the draft together there, Rocco, but you seem to have forgotten that I was pretty high on Seneca pretty early on, actually. I was a big Seneca guy, and it was lists, like independent lists that you saw where he was like late first, right up until it was crazy how low he was on a lot of independent lists. But you get to see him, thankfully, him being Oshawa, you get to see him quite a bit in Eastern Ontario, and we were fortunate to see him in the playoffs, right? And just how good he was at that point and how much progression he'd made. And I had him top 5 from the OHL playoffs on, and ended up ranking him top 3. I just loved Seneca's game, and well, he definitely made the translation to the NHL pretty smoothly. Meyer, have you seen Meyer? I know he wasn't at the Hlinka, but
Carter Meyer?
Yeah,
I've seen him. I've seen him once or twice. I think it's a guy that I need to watch a little bit more.
Yeah.
I have what I saw and what I've read are a little bit different. A lot of people are talking like he's a top 5 candidate. That's not what I saw when I watched him. But when you only see a guy twice so far in the summer, maybe I just didn't catch his best game, his dominant game, right? So I'm going to see him 15 more times this year. I didn't dislike him, but I didn't see a top 10 pick.
Yeah, no, I just catching the games on TSN, and Craig Button was asked, who could be a top 5, and he was one of the 5 guys he named, actually, and didn't name Sammy Nelson, and I was surprised by that. I mean, the top American, in my view, I don't think it's really up for debate at the moment would be Sammy Nelson. But I was just curious if you had maybe seen things that I hadn't so far with Meyer, and where, I mean, you know, he's a good prospect, probably a top 15 candidate at this time. But I was just curious whether you had, you felt that he might be a top 5 guy, and
No, I think
not
he'll
yet.
kind of end up, at least to start the year, somewhere in the middle of our first round.
Yeah.
Would be my guess. I think I definitely liked Nelson better from what I've seen so far.
Right.
At this point in time, Nelson would be the top American for me. And I look at a guy like Carter Meyer, and last year, the guy who was getting a lot of top 5 love that I didn't really understand was Tynan Lawrence. And we had him ranked between 10 and 15 the entire season. We didn't waver on that. He ended up getting picked 11th. But we took flack saying, "Oh, you guys don't like Lawrence." I'm like, well, no, we like him. He's not a top 5 pick. I don't know how much he drives offense on his own. There's a lot of pro habits and a lot of pro tools and a really high floor because of the motor and all that good stuff. And Meyer has a lot of those same tools, but I just haven't been necessarily wowed by the offensive creativity yet. It's August, but I haven't seen it yet. So I really like what he is as a player. I really like what he brings night in, night out. Seems like a really, steady guy. He's relied upon. Coach puts him out there in all situations. So a lot of things to like. But if I'm thinking top 5, top 10, I need you to be a first or second line player. And maybe I'll see that. Maybe I'll see that because, like I said, I've seen him 2 or 3 times. So there's a long season still.
Oh, I don't want to spend too much time on a guy that wasn't at the tournament. We'll get back on track here. Conboy, is he the best U.S. prospect on that team for you? I got an NHL scout that mentioned him. I was surprised by that. I found his skating maybe needs to come.
He wasn't the best guy for me. The best guy for me was Burkar, and actually further to that, Thorson, but he's not till next year. So those 2 guys I thought were better than Conboy. Ethan Sung was better in this tournament, but I think Conboy's a better NHL prospect than Sung.
Right.
I think Conboy was better than Michael Tang in this tournament, but I think Michael Tang could end up being the more highly touted prospect when it's done. He's got really high-end offensive tools. He's just really weak and gets bullied a little bit. So, but that's fixable. So I think that's a guy I'm interested to track his progress. But Conboy I really liked again. I just didn't see necessarily the offensive creativity. Like I think this is more of a north-south crash bang winger, which to me, you look at. Who is her guy this year that was like that? American guy.
Oh, there's always a few guys like that, but no, I get you. Like more of a 15 to 30, range guy, right?
Yeah, maybe somewhere more in the 20 to 50 range.
20 to 40, yeah. What about where would you slot Burkar at this point?
At this point, he'd probably be in the 20s for me. I like, I think he'd be in that 20s range. I don't see elite high-end offensive tools, but the shot will absolutely translate. And he's got some greasiness to his game in a good way that I really like. He works hard. So I think there's a good B game there. And he's got a 20-plus goal scorer shot. So that's always going to be a value to teams. So I really liked what he brought. I was really impressed with Gavin Burkar.
And out of the Canadian forwards, the next tier or whatever, I'm quite impressed by Strader. He's not the biggest guy, but lots to like there. Wysick, obviously, at England. Out of those 3 at this point, who would you say it looks like the best prospect?
Ooh, I would say Wysick. Honestly, I think he's got a few more elements. England's the more electric player, and he's the one that jumps off the page more because he's so fast and his shot is so good. Wysick gets to the middle a little bit easier, and he's got better hands and he's a better playmaker. He's a little more creative with the puck, I think. And
8 assists.
Yeah. And look, we'll probably have them within a couple spots of each other on our initial list. I really, really liked both guys. I would go Wysick. I think he strikes me as a guy.
England and Strader.
And Strader third. Strader, I don't know, has as much natural offensive finish as England and Wysick do, but he brings so many good elements. His speed is so good. His tenacity is so good. You can tell he's a team player. He is a legitimate centerman. He will be able to play center in the NHL, which is going to give him value. I think this is a shoe-in 3C at worst, who could explode offensively and look more. And then maybe you are talking about him ahead of these guys, because I don't know if the other two guys end up being centermen. So Strader has a lot to like. Those are the next three. I really, really like all three of those guys.
Yeah, me too. They all look like they could be top 20 guys, right?
Cam Warren's the other guy who I really liked.
Okay.
At that tournament. Smaller guy, but love the skating. His hands are fantastic. He works really hard. I think he's got the hockey IQ. I don't bet on small guys often, but I do like Cam Warren.
Yeah, no, for sure. Any of the other defensemen look like top 50 guys for you?
Yeah, McCaslin, I think.
Yep.
I was very impressed. With him. I think I think Boston Tate could be there as well. I think there's a lot of gives me some Ben McBeth vibes there, where it's a lot of tools, and we'll just see if he puts it together as more of a featured guy or as more of a complimentary guy. I thought he looked really good as a complimentary guy in this tournament, but he's going to go back to the dub and he'll be more of a feature guy. So I think he'll get a little more opportunity to show his puck game throughout the course of the season than he did at this tournament, playing a little bit lower and maybe deferring to a guy like Cripps more than he usually would during the season. So they were both really good as well.
McCaslin did stand out for me as someone who looked like he might be a first round guy.
They always manage one or two out of London. So don't be surprised if the 6'2" defenseman who can skate and play defense is the guy.
And I'm gonna guess that Darren doesn't mind him. Hi Rocco, love the insight, says Four Summers. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, well, Darren's gonna love any guy from London, so that hardly counts.
Ben Beach,
awesome. He was awesome.
He's the three, like Veach, obviously Pugh and Schultz. I mean, all nice looking prospects for next year, obviously.
Those guys are legit. I think you're looking at three guys who are first rounders and two guys who might just be the top two picks.
Right.
I couldn't have been more impressed with those three guys. Schultz is the guy. He is the next guy. I'm completely sold on him being the next, Taves, Bergeron, Celebrini, this type of two-way star. Like he's in there a year younger, playing on the PK and doing a great job. Exactly. His hockey IQ is off the charts. I think his character is off the charts. His shot speaks for itself. He's creative. There's not a flaw in his game. Not one.
No, he's there. They were a big part of why Canada was able to.
He's a special kid.
Yeah. Now, some of the other Marish, Selleck, Ozagani, I don't know if I pronounced that right. Are those guys potential first round players as well?
I really like Ozagani. I think I see him more of a second round guy. I didn't see necessarily the offensive pop that I'd be looking for in round one, but I saw all the tools that I'd be looking for in a third, fourth line guy. So there's a point in the draft where I'd be really excited to take him. It's just a matter of where he fits in offensively. Maris, he was the revelation of the tournament there. I think for most people, he's definitely the guy that I hadn't seen yet going into the tournament that I came away the most impressed with. I think he's going to be obnoxiously high on our pre-draft list.
It was hard not to notice him.
I'll say this: Joseph, Sundstrom, Santala, and Eklund Aspie came in with all the hype for the big guys, and Marish was better than any of them.
Right.
So in this tournament now, I do still have questions whether this is a an offensive driver at the pro level. However, the net front skill is going to play. He'll be really good there on a power play. The skating is great for his size. He's really mobile.
Yeah.
The two-way play is good. He's really smart. Look for him to start the year in our top 15.
Yeah, well, maybe he might be a top 10 guy. He's certainly a candidate.
Maybe even top 10. Yeah, we're going to have that conversation.
Well, I don't know how you couldn't at least be debating that. What about
Salic was the other guy you mentioned? I thought he had a
Magnum PI.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Poor guy. He's going to get called Tom Selleck the rest of his life, but that's okay. He was good. He did most of his damage offensively in one game, which was my only thing there, because he looked way better that one game. He looked good the whole tournament, but I didn't see like a dominant star. And then the one game he looked like a dominant star. So I got to figure out
6 points. Yeah,
I got to figure out just exactly what the offensive upside there is. But I really liked his tournament. He obviously stood out quite a bit. He's hard on the forecheck. He's big, hard to knock off the puck. This is a guy with a really strong B game that even if the offense doesn't pop the way that it did in that 6-point game, you still really like the player for what he is.
Yeah, for sure. Goaltending obviously was not. I don't think it's a great goaltending year so far. Certainly from what we saw in the Hlinka. Other players that you think might?
I like the Slovak goalie. He played well.
Okay.
And then I actually think Canada's 2 goalies are legit prospects for next year.
Next year, yeah.
But they were actually good.
Yeah.
Other players.
First round. Any other first round candidates for you?
Yeah. I mean, Lucas Santola, he's a first round candidate.
Oh, frick! I forgot to ask you about him. He's obvious.
He's
an obvious.
He's a first rounder, no doubt. His offensive production in London will dictate just how high, whether that's top 10, top 20, or in the 20s. But the tools he has, he's not dropping further than that.
The other Finn.
First rounders, Lenny Kokkonen, I thought number 6 for Finland. I loved him. I thought his game was great. Roni Kukasjärvi, number 9 for Finland, I also thought was great. Those 2 guys really, really impressed me. So I think you could see upwards of 3 first rounders coming from Finland. A couple other guys, Kilmala was good for them. The forward Kokkonen was good, and Liljeberg was good. But I see them more as 2nd, 3rd, 4th round guys. But I like the way that they played. And then the other guy who I think is a real strong chance to be a first rounder would be Botka off Slovakia, number 23. 2-way defenseman with a ton of speed, puck moving ability. He can kill penalties. The size is good enough. It's at 6'1". There's not really a red flag there that I've seen. And in a year that's going to be a little more shallow on 2-way D, I think he could rise up to the first round pretty easily. I really was impressed with him.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned Kokkonen because wasn't mentioned by Rick. I don't know that he saw a lot of Finland, but that's one guy that stood out for me from what I saw. That looks like a first round. Looks like a first round guy at first glance.
Yeah, I thought he was their best player at the tournament, most consistent, anyways. And he missed the game. Fugelberg is going to be good, but he's another 2028 guy.
Yeah. Fugelberg looked good for sure. And you didn't mind like Kimela kid or whatever?
I didn't see anything that told me that was a first rounder, but I did.
No.
But I did see an NHL draft pick.
Okay, and one German that's looks maybe a
Max Kelke. I really liked his game actually. I think this guy is going to be at this point. Anyways, I haven't seen 30 guys better. Long season. Like I've seen almost 100 guys this year so far.
Yeah.
And he's
in that mix.
Yeah, he's in the mix. He's got really good speed. I think the thing with him is like the offensive play was inconsistent this tournament, but he had no one to play with. So you know,
right.
It's tough. Let's see what he looks like when he's playing with better line mates. But you know, he's got a good shot. He's got really good hands. His speed's there. He's physical. He's a little bit small, but not so much so that it's, going to hold him back in his career. There's a lot to like there.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, a typical tournament, right, where there's a few kids that about the right amount of players that you think, well, they look like they might be first round picks. Actually, I think there might even be a few more from this year's tournament than last year that you say, well, this guy looks legitimate top 15. I think it may have been a stronger group. Fewer of the top prospects weren't playing perhaps in this tournament than in some of the other recent ones. So a good tournament to be going to live, Rocco.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure
and I
you,
would agree with that. I think the overall quality of play at the Hlinka was higher this year than last year. Now we'll see how the draft classes stack up against one another when it's all said and done. But just isolated at this tournament, it was a better tournament than last year, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, so we're looking at. Did you have a look at that Sportsov video that I sent you?
Yeah, I did.
Is there a more skilled forward? Is there a more skilled forward in this draft class?
No, probably not.
No,
Probably not.
He's not. I wouldn't put him in Demidov's class, but fast, like his speed, I think he's got is going to be really an asset for him. It reminds me a little bit of Pasternak. I see
the things that I like with him is his hands are so good and he can do it at top speed.
Right. That's McDavid light type,
which is Pasternak.
Right. Yeah. He does remind me of Pasternak.
Yeah, I don't mind that as a comp at all.
No. Well, if that's what you're getting, can you see like Privalov or Skvortsov going first overall and DuPont not being the first pick?
I think that one of them would have to do something that's more or less never really been done in terms of dominating wherever they play this year, or DuPont would have to really struggle in college. I do think that at the end of the day, the teams will probably still veer, a Russian prospect's going to lose the tiebreaker, I think, still.
Yeah.
And these kids could. It's August. It's a long season still, but they'd be probably the two candidates to do it. Neuenschwander would be the other guy who's actually a candidate to do it if he looks like the offense looks a little more natural to him this year. Because he could be a legit all around 80 point a game 2-way star, right? Yeah. So 6'4" center who you think has if a team thinks he has 70 point upside, maybe he doesn't. If they think he has 90 point upside, well, now you're talking. So those would be the guys that would give him a run for it. At this point in time, I still have DuPont one, and something would have to change for that to go another way. But those three guys are all super, super, super talented. So it's August.
You get to interview Landon?
Yeah.
How tall? Legitimately.
5'9.5", 5'10".
Okay. All right.
He's a couple inches shorter than me for sure.
Yeah. Okay. And
I think Brock England's grown though. I think he's over 6 foot now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you think, Kel McCarr, NHL teams typically by draft time they're hesitant. Like there's never been a 5'10" defenseman taken first overall, I don't think, and you have to be pretty damn special. And you know what? Landon DuPont is pretty damn special, right? Exceptional player status. But it would be cool. It'd be cool to see him go first overall. I just wonder if teams they always seem to put such an emphasis on height, even though, Makar obviously was more than worthy of being fourth overall pick. He should have been first, probably, him or Heiskanen. Teams screwed up on Hudson because of his size. Do you think that at the end of the day, if Sportsov, puts up Demidov type numbers, and I think teams are probably looking at that now and saying, we shouldn't have put in the Russian factor so strongly with him, a kid playing in Russia. He should have been second overall in the draft class, or third at worst. Maybe, a team looks at it and says, let's take the Russian kid with such high offensive upside.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. Like, nothing's out of the realm at this point. He's a super, super talented player. I think familiarity could come into play with them not being at any of these events, and teams having to rely strictly on the Russian scouts. So maybe there's some teams that go that way, but I do feel that DuPont has some special qualities to him. I'm not going to say generational player because that word gets thrown around like candy, but I do think this could be a point of game defenseman on the right side, and I think he could be part of your leadership group as well. So you just
captain of the gold medal team,
right?
I know, exceptional player status. The numbers he put up at such a young age, and just
someone would have to do something real special to surpass it.
Yeah. So Western Hockey Scout might be wrong in saying that DuPont could fall out of the top 10 there. No, that was
he might be wrong, but you also never know. What if he goes and struggles at college and doesn't come around in the second half of the year? Maybe he does. It's August.
Verhoff struggled in college and he didn't drop out of the top 10, but
maybe he does.
But
Verhoff 6'4".
I know you were defending his having that opinion, but I think it was an attention-seeking thing, honestly. Especially when I saw the tweet. When I saw the tweets yesterday, did you see him talking about Tavares and stuff?
I did, and they're not opinions. They're not opinions that I share. Like I have DuPont number one, and I've actually
that's fine, and you're allowed to have an opinion, but after one game in the Hlinka to come out and say, he's not a top 10 guy after one game, it was just, it just goes to show that I think you have to be patient with this stuff and wait till the end of a tournament and then make your opinion on if a guy you think everyone thinks is supposed to be number one before you make such a bold statement as, this is why I don't think he is a top 10 guy. Anyway, you're out there and you're trying to make a name for yourself in the scouting world. I think it's just a lesson for younger scouts that want to that hope to become whatever viable NHL scouts or whatever. Just not to go overboard with the with the opinions on a player after one game where he maybe wasn't great. It's a lesson for you guys out there that are scouts and independent scouts that and Rocco, you worked with me for a couple of years, and we've had those discussions before after one game, and I'm saying to you, Rocco, like, it's one game, and we have to. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And anyway, I just found that he got a lot of flack for it, and I saw you came to his defense, and your point was valid that we all have opinions, and maybe it's too early to say that he's wrong, but I thought it was far too early to be making that kind of judgment based on one so-so game in a summer tournament.
Yeah, and like I said, I definitely don't share the opinion. DuPont's very much number one for me. I do think that whole thing got blown way out of proportion. I don't think it needed to be. I
didn't read all the comments, but I think it got.
You can just imagine how nasty they were. So
I don't like that either. Like,
no, that's what I mean.
I've gotten that I've gotten that
You got not-
that same treatment. So,
No, exactly. So there is a balance. There is a balance, and I'm sure maybe he would have
absolutely.
worded things a little more softly in hindsight.
Yep.
But I just don't have a problem with someone coming out with a strong opinion if they're willing to put their reputation on the line and they're willing to say and have their reasons, whether they're right or wrong. Like we've seen first overall picks who have been out of the league by 22 and never played again. So what's to say who's right or wrong? And again, I'm a big DuPont fan, but maybe it's a little premature for that kind of comment. But if the whole season goes to shit for him and that actually somehow comes true, he's going to say, "Well, I was the first one. I was the first one."
He's been fantastic and dominant for 3 years. The whole season's not going to go to shit. We know that.
I agree. I know that.
Okay.
I know that.
I know. That's a pretty big if.
It is.
So let's just
that's why, But that's why the opinion blew up so much, because it is such a quote unquote crazy thought at this point in the cycle. So I don't
mind people having opinions, but to me, it was an attention seeker, right? And some guys try a little too hard that are in this business. And you don't win the respect of guys that have scouted for 20 years like me, or guys in the NHL that are reading these comments by doing that. That's, you can disagree with me that everyone has an opinion of this and that, but I think there was a lesson learned there from him, I hope. I don't agree with all of the backlash, but then he turns around the next day or yesterday and makes those comments about John Tavares, and it's like, okay, all right, well, I wasn't wrong about this guy. There's some maturing to be done there, and I hope he
I didn't see the Tavares
he tones
stuff.
down. Oh well, that's it. I muted him. I'm done with him after that. It was go and have a look at that, because that just backed up my first thought of what, okay, what's this guy? Why is he doing this? And if you see the Tavares one, I think you'll understand that he's just he's seeking a lot of attention, and he's getting it, and deservedly so. After the Tavares stuff, a lot of negative.
Fair enough. I mean, and I'll leave it at this. Not everyone has their best day all the time. The guy's only ever been respectful towards me personally. Like, we've chatted in DMs and stuff. He's never come across like that to me on a one-on-one level. So I try to judge people kind of how they treat me personally, but equally probably he'd probably be the first to tell you not his best work on Twitter that day.
Yeah. Well, and that, no, but then 2 days later saying, oh, my best friend is a scout with the Islanders. So outing an Islander scout, and then saying, Tavares was a party. He screwed around with every woman in Oshawa and did this, and he was.
I didn't see any of that.
Okay, so I mean, he's completely off the rails as far as I'm concerned. I sent a message to him saying, look, you're seeking attention here. You should probably tone it down a bit. I deleted it 10 minutes later and just said, well, I'm just muting this guy, and just, but believe me, there's a lot of guys that have been around scouting for a lot of years that, that's not how you build a name for yourself. Any of you prospective scouts out there, by doing posting some of the things that he did in the past week. But anyway, I wouldn't have brought this up if you hadn't defended him.
Hockey Twitter never ceases to bring out the best in everybody. So
yeah, well, X can be a toxic place, and I've noticed that if you want to get ahead in this, unfortunately, it's a tool that we need to utilize quite a bit. There's good and bad with it, obviously, and but so far, follow Rocco, by the way, on Twitter. He's a good follow for the draft, and you're starting to build a decent. I noticed that you're getting a lot of likes, and the Bob father even followed you on Twitter. You were telling me the other day, which is which is quite an achievement. So good
that
for
was
you.
one of the coolest things of my entire life. And maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe I'm fanboying, but I mean, I grew up watching Bob McKenzie literally every week for my entire life. So when Bob followed me, I said, okay, I'm either doing something really well or something really wrong. And he's just giggling at me, but I'm hoping it's the former. But yeah, I've been getting a lot more traction lately. Hockey Canada gave me an incredible opportunity to go and cover that in person and full media access. That was the first time that I've been able to cover an event of that scale under my own banner, which was really, really exciting for me. And Spencer and Esther there, they made sure I felt welcome and answered all my questions and walked me through all the rookie procedures that I needed to learn in terms of doing media scrums and that sort of thing. But yeah, we're coming along here.
Yeah. Well, check out their site at the Puck Bunker. Rocco and Darren Boyce. Darren and Rocco have both been on the show before. I've been on their show. Darren's a great guy.
Darren is literally Junior Grant. So if you like Grant, you will like Darren.
There you go. Yeah, Darren's solid people. All right, I won't take any more of your time here, Rocco. Thank you so much for joining us. Great insight on what all happened at the Hlinka. I have a little. I'm a little more comfortable in starting a top 30 list. I don't like to do it before September. It's just the way I operate. I just don't feel right putting out a top 30 list till I've seen everybody. But I have a lot. We're on the same page with what I saw on video at the Hlinka. So
Grant, people want the list. The people want the list. You got to give the people what they want. They want the list.
Well, I haven't had Instat for the last week, so I can't. I haven't been able to scout, and it's like not having a cell phone. Like it's worse. Oh my goodness! It's just wow. What's going on here? I really miss it when I don't have it. It's just like you lose your phone for an hour. Well, just think of doing it for 7 days. That's what it's been like.
You're gonna resubscribe to the newspaper or something.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I have you caught a little bit at the end of the Reinbacher discussion there. He's played 132 games in the last 3 years, Rocco. That's the main reason why he's not in the NHL yet. But you look at a kid like Tyler Clevin, for instance, who, till he wasn't really comfortable playing at the NHL level till 22, 23. A lot of defensemen, like even the kid in Dallas there, Harley, till he was 22, wasn't, he was still playing in the AHL, getting comfortable, and they had played lots of hockey. Reinbacher hasn't the last 3 years. It set him back a little bit in development, but there's no reason to believe that he's going to be a bust because he hasn't been become an NHL regular defenseman yet.
No, everyone needs to touch grass a little bit with that guy and realize that this is a young defenseman. And look, he didn't control where he got picked, and he didn't control that he got hurt. So let's stop holding those two things against him, okay? And let's just let him be who he is. And if he can stay healthy, like my worry with him is more about the injuries and the player. He's a damn good player. So he needs a full season healthy. He needs to get 20 or 30 games with Montreal this year if he can. I think, starting the year in the A, getting comfortable, maybe you make the team out of camp if you have a really great camp. But I think the most important thing for him is just reps and whatever. Like I'd rather see him start in Laval again than come get 12 minutes a night in the NHL. Especially given that he's missed so much time. So
right.
Get him reps, get him situations. You still have a very solid prospect on your hands. Is it the best home run 5th overall pick that's ever been in the history of the sport? No, but he can still be a damn good player and a really big part of a contending team for a lot of years. So let's just let him be who he is, not hold his injuries against him, not expect him to be a 100-point defenseman just because he was a top pick. Not every top pick ends up being a superstar, but this kid could still be a really, really good player. And like you watch his play, he doesn't he doesn't show anything that shows you that he's going to be a bust. It's not like he's out there looking terrible. He's just not out there enough. So just pump the brakes. He'll be just fine. You got a good prospect on your hands.
All right. Good parting thoughts from you on a Habs prospect on HabsCast.
And if I like the Habs prospect, you know he must be good.
There you go. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Grant. It's always fun coming on.
Okay, Rocco. We'll talk soon.
Hey, cheers.
Okay. Rocco Zappia, folks. Thank you very much, Rocco. That was great and enlightening, and so happy to see that he's getting ahead as a scout. Somebody that I, we had a lot of fun together, scouting games for 2 or 3 years there when he was part of recruits. So thanks, special thanks to Rocco for coming on, even though he's probably still a little bit jet lagged. So let's get to a few of your comments here and see. Rhino is the key, says Sheldon. Yeah, most of the comments here were still along. Yes, I love Reinbacher. He will help, but improving defense will be a team thing, including Lalonde. Oh, yeah. The Habs' D success will also be dependent on Guhle and Reinbacher's health. Guhle, yeah, their health too. Yeah, that's a good point. I meant to say, what if Kirby Doc has bounce back season and full season to that will be the best for the Habs this season? Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good point, Kirby Doc. There were probably better choices than the other three, or well, the Demidov and Slaf part of it, but Kirby Doc was a good one. Could definitely have been one of the choices there, and I appreciate that. Let's bring this back up. Which of these would be the biggest difference for the Habs this season? We're up to 1,261 votes, which is quite good. Thank you everyone that has weighed in. Demidov 75 to 80 points, Slaf 85 to 90 points, Kapanen 25 to 30 goals, or Reinbacher, a top 4 defenseman. 69.1% overwhelmingly say Reinbacher, top 4 defenseman, biggest key to the biggest difference for the Habs this season if they can. And I agree with it. I agree that I think that's the obvious choice out of those 4. And thank you to everyone who has voted. By the way, folks, I'm going to give a quick shout out here to my friends at Bonashare Caves, Eganville, Ontario, private family-owned business run by hockey fans. 613-628-2283. Check out their website, bonasharecaves.com. You'll see some really funky pictures of the caves, and it's well lit, planking all the way through, so it's not it's not like crawling through a cave. Crawling, literally, it's pretty cool. And you go there, you can pick up a copy of my book, Valley Snapshots, for free. It's worth more than actually the admission to get into the caves. So, folks, August is almost half over here. Summer's almost done. Get out to Bonashare Caves before Labor Day if you can. They're open till Thanksgiving, by the way. My opinion, there are scenarios that could put them in Laval, a bad camp, and they're afraid of losing players to waivers. Oh yeah, I still think that the odds are probably less than 50% that he starts the season on the blue line. I mean, that wouldn't be my choice, but I'm not necessarily expecting it. thing about the expansion draft, which could happen in 2029, maybe. By then, he will be 35. He'll no longer have his NMC, so they could leave him unprotected. Yeah, I don't expect. That's what I was wondering too. I'm a little late, but damn, people, only 10 likes so far. Smash that thumb. Yeah, you have to leave chat for a sec. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. I would truly appreciate it. Thank you very much. Question for our host: how many hours a day do you guys spend watching hockey? It's got to be a lot with all your knowledge. Yeah, well, it's yeah, it's a lot. Look, and when I had recruits going, my draft guide each year, thousands of hours a year, thousands of hours watching hockey, a ridiculous amount, and it's a lot now too. Who do you have in your mind they would lose to waivers? Oh, I'm not. It's too early, guys. Oh, waivers. Yeah. If Reinbacher came in, I think they make deal. They make training camp deal or two if Reinbacher is going to make the club. Player that they don't have any more options for. Yeah. The only scenario that I see that complicates things are a Struble, Jacky, Reinbacher, and Engstrom all have really strong camps. In this scenario, though, it will open up trade opportunities. Yeah, that's well put. Which will negate the chance of players on waivers. And Giovanni Guzzo. Giovanni, where are you from? Are you a Montrealer? Any new posters on here? I'd like you to state where you reside, if you don't mind. You've probably been on before, Giovanni, but just not a regular. Apologies if you have. If Reinbacher and Engstrom both have a solid camp, Struble or Jacky, I see one getting traded. Yeah. Well, if they both make the team, I think both of them have to be traded. You can't have like 9 defensemen. 8. Really hoping Beck and Florian have solid caps as well. Yeah. It's big caps for them. You're right. It's more likely a trade than waivers. Yes. I think if Beck and Florian have solid caps, Texier might end up being 13th forward. But I don't see Florian and Beck staying with the main club to start the season. I've been saying that for weeks. I agree. Hello, guys. Hope MSL gives a real chance to Reinbacher. Well, as I said last night. Hey, Simo, thanks for coming in. As I said yesterday, actually, summer brunch with Rick. If you haven't seen the episode, Derek Lalonde, new eyeballs, right? Who's to say that he evaluates talent the exact same as Trevor Letowski did? He is the associate coach now. I think he'll have a decent say in what he thinks and who he likes and who he thinks should be in the lineup, and he'll state his opinions. He's not afraid to do that, and it could be different. He might have a different outlook than Trevor did. He could say, "Whoa, this Reinbacher kid's got to be in the lineup. What are we doing here?" Or Owen Beck. Wow, he can bring more to the table than perhaps an Alex Texier or whoever it might be. So yeah, I hope that that those are things that are under consideration for Lalonde. I don't know. I'd have to look back at Detroit's rosters. I think they kind of went with veterans, though, for the most part, when he was coaching. Although, Seider obviously got in the lineup pretty young. Who's the young Austrian? Marco Kasper. I think he got to play under Lalonde pretty young too, did he not? Maybe somebody can dig that up. Look back at Lalonde's last year as a coach. Well, maybe I can do it here. I'll just bring up his roster. Last year. Okay, in looking at the roster here, Major got a game. Yeah. Marco Kasper played 77 games for him. He was only 20 years of age, so it's not like he won't give a spot to a young player. The year before, bear with me here, I'm just seeing. Typically, it's not. He doesn't play too many young players, mind you. What Yzerman was doing was getting a lot of veterans too, so he didn't really have much choice with what he was given, right? Kasper, if this is right, did not play the year before, but he was a regular at 20 for the club under Lalonde in his final season. And he was 20 years old. So, hey, if the player's good enough, he's not afraid to give a spot to a young player. I wasn't following Detroit when he was there or Toronto. Hopefully, he has that Tampa vibe happening still. Yeah. Drum Dude, good day, sir. Lots of experience and different voice. Nothing against Slafkovský, but this change will make the difference. Oh, you're saying a lot of the things that I was saying. So I don't disagree. Grant's guest watches a lot of hockey to name all those guys. Well, he went to 18 games at the Hlinka, so counting the days until regular season starts. Yeah. It would be fun to try if someone was paying me for it, but no one really cares about doing that for me. What's that? I would not have enough hours in one day myself. No. Well, you guys are paying me here, right? Sorta. No vid to show, $5. See, I'm getting. Some of you guys are paying me for all this hockey I watch. Thank you. Thanks for making the time away from the Habs easier to bear. Hey, yeah, and it I get a little bored in the summer too. I've gotten away from ball ever since the Expos left. I'm not the baseball fan I used to be, and football. I just don't have time, and somebody upstairs isn't a big football fan, so not that I can watch a lot of it without a lot of grumbling. So, did Rocco talk about Dupont? Any questions about his size? Yeah, he did. No questions about his size. Kid's special. I should clarify the 2020 draft, 22 draft is already a success. Absolutely. Oh, let's get back to Beck becomes a regular on the Habs, and I'm hoping he does. The 2022 draft will have been a good one. Oh, will have been a good one. Well, it already is, even if Beck doesn't become a regular, Kelly. Forgot Meshar. Yeah, well, maybe purposefully, right? David Reinbacher on the right side moves Hudson to the left. Exactly. And Ivan Demidov. Oh, you're on. I don't normally read posts that are on X. I'm going to make this exception, Ivan, but do me a favor. If you're going to post any more, it's got to be on live chat in YouTube. That's where I get the support. That's where I get monetary support, not on X. So please, in the future, join us. YouTube, HabsCast. Come on over, emigrate. We welcome immigrants here. And I'll read your posts and become part of the community here. It's fast growing. It's great. We've got a great Habs community on YouTube. So if you don't mind, join us there. Carrier fills as a third pair. Gooley, Hudson, Stroobs, Matheson. Who's the odd man out? And where does Arbor slot? Well, it could be, I hate to say it, but you should add Jack Eye to the potential odd man out. So, so yeah, good questions. Yes, it's already a success. That's right, Ken. Let me just go down here. I can't stand rude keyboard warriors. Nice to see everyone on Grant Show can have civil discussions. Before the internet, we stepped outside to settle such nonsense. Those were the days, right? Kelly, I'm a long-time Habs fan, and further to my point, I don't feel the Habs have a superstar yet. Need to have a bit longer record in my mind. Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, the kids are a little young, right? Budding superstars, absolutely. Rocco just mentioned that the term generation player gets thrown around like candy. That is true. The term superstar is now used ridiculously. Yeah, well, you got to get some years under the belt. I won't say that the Habs have any superstars right now. There's no Guy Lafleur here yet, but there's a couple trending that way. Hudson and Demidov, and Slav might be a superstar too. Nick Suzuki, close. Certainly, superstar, you think more, flash and dash, but Nick is close to that. Not every team has a superstar, and it seems like there are so many mentioned as that today. Yeah, for sure. Hudson is unique. Yeah. Budding superstar. And Demidov, I don't know, small bud, but it could flourish, could bloom into a superstar too. Okay, where's Mark Giordano? He was on the short list. The reason I didn't put Giordano on, he played 22 pretty much the entire year in Calgary. Fairly young, like 21, 22. He had 58 games or whatever it was. I looked at him. Believe me, it was the first guy I thought of. He was a late bloomer in that it took him a lot of years before he was, he hit that real high level. But I was looking more at guys that didn't really even crack the NHL till 23, 24, 25 or older. Giordano did. Then he went back to the AHL a bit, but he was playing at 21, 22 in the NHL fairly regularly. But yeah, he definitely was one of the guys that could have been on this list. There were others potentially too that were looked at, but Giordano, yes. But because he played for the Leafs, we excluded him. All right. Okay. Oh, thank you for the $10, by the way, Mark. Once again, I appreciate that. Kenny Pedro, $5. Keep the knowledgeable guests coming. Thank you, Ken. Oh, I might have a special agent an agent on. I'm just talking to him, and I think you'll really like this guest if I can get him. I hope so. He's in Europe, but he'll be able to tell us some interesting things. I really hope I can get him on this week. It'll be really informative if I can. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that. Found the comment by Pete, the WHL scout, laughable. The one about Tavares or the one about both of them were laughable, I thought. The Habs have a lot of stars for sure. Used to be where they may have been 2 or 3 superstars in the league at a time. Now the media seems to think there are 3 or 4 on some of the teams. Yeah, there you go. Right now, there may be only 10 superstars in the whole league. Yeah, I agree with that. You know, great guest, Grant. Yeah, Rocco was great to have on. Keep the dentations coming, Grant. Oh, the donations coming, Grant. Gonna make Grant cappy if we do, because I'm cappy. First 3 options might be accepted. Okay, you're still on the superstar thing. I think Rhino is worth the wait. Habs fans are not patient. I'm shocked our fan base accepted a rebuild, to be honest. Yeah, Arbor might not be in cap if he's still not signed. Well, that's possible. I don't see that happening, no. Yeah, generational players get thrown around too much. Superstar. The thing is that because there's no definition, right? It's subjective. You know, I like to say a star. Like right now, Nick Suzuki's a star. Right now, Cole Caulfield's a star. Are they superstars? No. If Cole Caulfield scores 60 goals the next couple of years, he's a superstar. That's, if Demidov becomes a 100-point scorer every year, superstar. Hudson, 3 more years, point per game defenseman, he's a superstar. Let's hope so. Slav becomes a 90, 100-point guy every year, 40, 50 goals, superstar. So the potential's there. Are any of them right now? Not for me. There's some stars, there's some budding stars, there's some budding superstars. I'm still hearing the Leafs and Flames would love to get Arbor. What do you think we could get from either of them? Oh, I don't know. White cloud. There's a white cloud over me. It says that it's going to be Zach. There was a comment on X saying Calgary didn't need Jacky anymore because they signed a player. Oh, there you go. Generational franchise superstar, all-star, star. The gaps are huge between those players. Yeah. I guess that should be my next poll question. It seems to be dominating the live chat. Those terms get thrown around because some guy in the media need clickbait and want to get noticed. Yeah, you notice that person isn't me. And I had to remind yes, I had to remind Rocco that I had Seneca 3rd overall. You seem to have conveniently forgot that. Where were the Tavares comments? On X, same guy. Okay. FYI, Carolina only had 1 player in regular season over a point per game. Aho. Yeah. You don't need superstars to win. Did St. Louis have a superstar when they won the cup? No. It's not me. Oh, it's not you, it's me. 94. We're almost up to 100. Folks, migrate over here from X. Let's get it up. We've got 95 people on HabsCast. I like when it breaks triple digits. Can you folks that are watching on X do me a slight favor? Go to HabsCast. Check out my pinned tweet, and it's got a link. It's got a link to the YouTube link. And come on over, join us in the live chat. Get us up over. We're at 96. Get us up over 100 folks watching on YouTube. I like it's kind of the threshold for me. I got 100 people in the live chat. it seems like it's a success. And hit that like button if you don't mind. Gets the algorithm rolling here, gets people watching the show after. You know, the other thing I like is to get at least 2,000 views for each video. 3,000 is better, obviously, but 2,000 plus for each video, I think is solid numbers in the middle of summer here. And hey, this 7 o'clock thing, I really hope it takes off during the season. I'm going to try to do as many shows at 7 o'clock as possible, live shows. Tina likes it because then she can watch, whatever she wants during prime time here. So it kind of works out. Do you think if we drew up a petition or something trying to convince Marty to keep Reinbacher with the main club, it would work? Well, sure. Let's start it here. If you build it, they will come, Grant. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we're down to 87. People went the other way. I turned off some people that were on the live chat. So, yeah, I'm going to go watch on X. I'm going to do the opposite. Okay, I guess we're not going to hit 100. Down to 85 now. All right, fine. It's worth a shot, right? Thank you, folks, for the hey, the contributions here monetarily are always so much appreciated. I never thought when I started doing the live chat that would necessarily happen. And it's been a pleasant surprise. Part of it that so many of you have made donations since I started live chat. It's pretty cool. Yeah, how many likes am I up to here? 30? Somewhere in that range, Mark? Let's see how many people have 1,291 votes. My previous high for votes on one of these polls was 700. So this one's going to at least double that, which is kind of cool. 45. I figured over 40. We want to keep you going much better than the others. Thanks, Ken. That's what I want to hear. Thank you. Any other Habs news happening tonight? Who did Calgary sign? Does anybody know that of significance that might be? No, I don't see any. See any recent signings here. Every time I type in any Habs news the last week, nothing. No. So I have to concoct it. What are people's thoughts on Vinny Rohr? I weighed in yesterday morning. It was breaking news. That was like the biggest happening yesterday morning. It was breaking news just before I went on air at 10 a.m. for summer brunch with Rick Springhetti, that Vinny Rohr has been loaned to Zug for the entire season, so he won't even be a camp. Hey, the seasons get started earlier in Europe. He'll be a camp very soon in Switzerland. Obviously, they prefer him to be there the entire year. I would imagine that Montreal's brass talked to Zug and said, okay, you want us to loan, not even have him at training camp. Here's the deal. You guarantee that he's got either first or second, top 6 spot the entire season, right? Or he's on the first line, at the very least, the top 2 center spot on your team. He plays a ton. We'll loan you for the entire season, but you have to give us your word that he's going to be, you know, playing tons for you guys in a top 2 role. I wouldn't have done it unless I had a chat with Zug management and got that assurance from them that, okay, we'll loan you for the entire year here, but on the condition that you reassure us, guarantee us that he's because he didn't play a top 6 role in Zurich this past season, and his numbers came down quite a bit offensively. And I think the Canadians would like him to have one very productive year in Switzerland before he seriously contends for a spot on the Canadians. Signed in just to give you a like. Keep up the good show. Thank you, Joe Ashamo. I like your username, by the way. And keep the great show going, Grant. Maybe we can have a pint tomorrow. Oh, yeah. All right. You know where. I guess you're feeling better, Scott. That's good. That's good to know. By the way, we had a tornado warning here. I thought maybe we'd lose power, but nope, no power loss. Thank goodness. Calgary traded with the Wild for Middleton. That was a transaction. Oh, that was a while back, but yeah. Right. That wasn't recently, but Sheldon, Tooney. Double Tooney. Start, right? You gave me one earlier. 2 Toonies in your pocket today, my friend. Thank you very much. Anyone else here? I can go another 15 minutes if you send me $1,000, folks. So better start. Okay, that might be expecting a little much, right? I haven't seen Charles for a while. Scotland. He's back on vacation again, isn't he? And Donnie McCaskill. Haven't seen Don too much in the last couple of weeks. He's got to be enjoying retirement life out in the Maritimes. Mark is back after a couple of days. I imagine you were away on the weekend, Mark. Enjoying your vacay, I hope. 1,000 per 15 minutes. Sign me up. Yeah. Well, I guess that's asking a bit much, eh? Yeah. Maybe someday I'll. Yeah, 1,000 a week. Not every 15 minutes. That's never happening. I know that. I'd have to get a hell of a lot more charming. I was at the track having fun with my new toy, Grant. Okay. Bought yourself a horse, did you? Is your horse named Horace? I don't know if anybody else has watched the new InfoWars. I've been tuning in on Thursday nights. Pretty funny, actually. Tim Heidecker with his going through a divorce, and the horse named Horace has been getting in between them there. It's I find it pretty hilarious. I don't know if anybody else has tuned in to the Onion version of InfoWars, but I would recommend it. It's I find it pretty funny. Would Carlo for Jack Eye be a thing you'd consider, Grant, considering there's been talk about Toronto moving him? No. Jack Eye to Toronto? No, thank you. Absolutely not. Yeah, okay. Well, you could have been talking about athletic track, like you might like 100-meter sprinters. You could have been talking about the horse track, greyhound track. You got to be specific on here, Mark. So you're talking about the racetrack. Gotcha. Drag strip? What kind of car? I don't know if it's drag strip. It could be, there's a lot of different racetracks, car racetracks too. So you're still being pretty vague, but good for you. Golf GTI, nothing crazy. I just love the speed and can't afford it on the roads. Yeah. Got to get up to Calabogie Raceway there. If and when you're coming up. Calabogie's not too far from here. Go zip around a few times. Yeah. All right, folks. I guess that $1,000 isn't coming in, eh? Jack Eye to Toronto would be the Habs' worst nightmare. Yeah, well, no. Oh yeah, now there's a superstar, Arbor Jack Eye. Trade him to friggin' Toronto, man. Why would you trade a superstar to Toronto so he could come back to haunt them? The Habs are terrified of a 7D. I don't know if there is a more overrated player in the National Hockey League than Arbor Jack Eye. I love Arbor to death, but my goodness, Habs fans. But no, they're not trading him to Toronto. For obvious reasons. You don't want him hurting anybody on the Canadians. Certainly, he's not going to hurt them offensively and then rushes, but no, you don't want you don't trade him to Toronto. You don't trade him to a divisional rival. You just don't, and we know why. And we can move on, right? I had my Arbor episode 3-4 days ago. Can we not make this an Arbor Jack Eye episode now too? I honestly think Hudson and Demidov are the most talented players I've ever seen in my lifetime. I'm 36, and yet we're here talking about Arbor. Habs players. Oh, Habs players. Okay, thank you. Yeah, because David might be better. Like those guys, but I think Habs fans miss bruisers on the blue line like Emelin. Yeah. Mr. Nicely, not saying it nicely, he says not mobile at all. You're just a young pup. Yeah, really, a 36-year-old on here. Wish I could say the same. Yeah, most of us are not in that category. Hey, is anybody going to the rookie tournament in Gatineau? Folks, you should come down for this. I'm going to cover it. I'm going to find a place, a bar in Gatineau to do a live remote after. I'm going to get in touch with Lacage and see maybe if I can do a remote after at least one of the Habs rookie games. It'd be great if some of you could come. I did a live remote at McLean's Pub, and 2 people showed up. I went to Hurley's after post game. I don't think anybody, other than Rick, I don't think anybody showed up. So look, some of you fans, if you're listening in the Ottawa area, go to the rookie tournament and head to, if I do get a live remote after, it'd be great if I could meet some of you folks. Hey, the rookie tournament's great. I went last year to Montreal to see it. I've been to Toronto, used to go to Gatineau whenever it was there. Ottawa at one point had the rookie tournament, and it'd be just great if some of you diehards, I mean, you're diehard enough to come on, watch me mostly every night. Get out there, go to the rookie tournament, and we'll get together, have a pint, maybe before and after, or after. My back doesn't feel the youth. Emlyn was better than Arbor. Better, more skilled hitter, but I would come if you ever did something in the GTA. Oh, that's fair. Don't think so, though. I'm 33. I'm sure there are a few youngins in here. La crème de la crème. And where, young fella, do you, I'm going to assume you're a fella, where do you hail from? La crème de la crème. Giovanni never got back to me about where he's from, eh? Going to try to watch Canadians games on Habs TV. Too far to travel for just rookie games. Okay. No problem. That's in September 12th and 13th, correct? That's correct. Emlyn, better hitter. Arbor, better puncher. That's true. That sums it up. Yeah. I think that's well put, Drum Dude. I know Drum Dude's not 33. A little older, right, Drum Dude? What anyone else got different? We had the one person saying Kirby Dach would be the key to Habs having more success. Anyone else got any other suggestions? That was a good one. I didn't necessarily disagree with it. I haven't eaten supper yet, folks, so I'm hanging in here a little longer. I need some input. I'm from the West Island of Montreal. There's no age to like prospects. Right on. West Island, eh? Okay. That's a good point. Cap is a key at forward position this year. Yeah, I think so. Pab, I'm new to your podcast and really love it so far, even though there's quite a lot of podcasts around the Habs nowadays. Your wise input and experience in hockey is very appreciated. Thank you, Pab. I like those words. Thank you. Where are you? Where do you hail from? So a Kapanen becomes a second line center. Does that mean Hage is expendable? Absolutely not. No. It means Hage can play on the wing with Demidov and Kapanen and have a fantastic second line. Look, not every center outside of the NHL becomes a center in the NHL. A lot of them end up being converted to the wing. Look at Doc. He's supposed to be a center. He was drafted 3rd overall to be a top 2 center. Now he's a winger. But, that doesn't also mean, look, Cappy could be second line center for a couple of years and Hage eventually becomes second line center. Cappy moves down to third line center. That's also a possibility. Cappy, Hage could be the third line center. If Kapanen ends up being, the guy, him and Demidov, it's just, match made in heaven. like Stamkos, Cirelli for years in Tampa, where Cirelli wasn't the biggest point getter, but it just worked perfectly. Cirelli could do the heavy lifting defensively. 1-2 cups with that formation. Then Hage is your third line center. That works too, right? I mean, you want 3 quality centers. Look at Carolina last year. Their third line center was Stahl. What did Jordan Stahl do? He won the Conn Smythe. So typically you want 3 top-notch centers in your lineup. If you do, as Brian, my old cohort Brian Wild used to say, and is fond to say, win the middle, win the game. Doc needs to stay healthy. Ooh, that is for sure. If I lived closer, I'd be at the rookie tournament. I'm in Rockwood, near Guelph. Oh, that's close enough, Kelly. No excuse there. I went from Ottawa to downtown Toronto to see rookie tournament one year. Born and raised in Notre Dame de Grace. First ever English words I heard were Jesus Murphy from my hockey coach, who was an Irishman, right? I'm with you on this. Hage is not going to walk in the NHL as a bona fide 2C. Oh no, you've got to, you got to work at it. Suzuki started on our third line, folks. Forget that quick. Yeah. And what did Cappy do, right? He started the year, played fourth line wing, went back and played in the SHL, came back, played second line center last year, right? It wasn't like he just stepped in and played and was second line center. He started 2 seasons ago, if you remember, fourth line winger, in and out of the lineup, went to Finland, came back, and last year won the second line center spot. Do you think Hage would want to be a third line center? Do you think Jordan Stahl would want to be a third line center? Why don't you ask Jordan Stahl? Do you think he'd want to be a third line center? On a Stanley Cup winner, he would. Michael Hage, come on. I don't think he cares if he's third line center. And we put way too much stock in numbers here. Montreal's third line in 3 years could be Bolduc, Hage, and Zurowski, or another player that they pick up, and be like a second line on most teams. Nobody's going to mind being a top 9 player on the Habs in 3 years when they're contending for cups. I can guarantee you that. Like who? Dougie Risebrough was a top 8 pick in the NHL draft. Okay? Top 8. Now, would you have said to Doug Risebrough, like a year later, are you going to mind being a third line center? Do you think Scotty Bowman said, do you mind if you're our third line center? Do you think Dougie Risebrough said, oh, no, I was a top 8 pick. I was a top 10 pick. I can't be third line center. I'm better than that. I can guarantee you Doug Risebrough never said that. He was third line center on a 4-time Cup winner, and I absolutely no doubt that Doug Risebrough didn't mind being Montreal's third line center on a dynasty. It's funny because 10 years ago, we would go crazy for 22-goal rookie, embarrassment of riches. Oh, I know. And Kapanen equaled Montreal's all-time mark for a rookie center, 22 goals. Jacques Lemaire, you got to go back to the 60s for a 60 years since they had a rookie center score 22 goals. I think a page actually goes back to college. You will be expendable. Oh, turn the page, Rodney. I don't think Hage going back. That doesn't. Why would that make him expendable, Rodney? I respectfully disagree with that sentiment, and I think most of the folks on here would as well. All right, I need to go get something to eat. It's getting late already to be having some nourishment. So I'm going to pack this in. 2 hours and 5 minutes in. We're probably up to 50 likes by now. We were at 49 a while ago. Must I? Folks, smash that like button, please. If you haven't subscribed already, we had a few new names on here tonight. Hab, a couple others. Hit the subscribe button, please. I would really appreciate that. Hey, I'm just asking. I'm a fan. No problem, Rodney. I just, this wasn't a ask you said. I think that was a question. So I was just saying, I think most people would disagree with that, but, I didn't have a problem with the question, Rodney. Just a follow-up comment. I don't think he's expendable. And I do appreciate everyone coming on. I just no filter here, folks. Thank you, Grant and HabsCast faithful. Have a great evening. Up to 57? Okay, Sheldon, thank you. Kenny, good night, Grant. Good night, Ken. Good night, Sheldon. Good night, everybody. It was a great day to talk hockey, and we'll see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. I'm hoping to have a special guest. We'll see. Can't let the cat out of the bag. If you're on X, look for my poll at noon every day now. I try to get a new poll out. This one, it seems to be catching on. We might get 2,000 votes on this one. That's pretty cool. So I'll come up with another subject for tomorrow, and at noon at Grant McCagg on Twitter, I'll put up a new poll. Oh, geez, somebody just in under the wire here. Patrick Menard, 279. Now I don't want to go. Somebody else going to do this? 900. Yeah, $997 short of that 1,000 mark in 15 minutes mark, but actually it was in 20 minutes. But hey, I'll take it. Thumbs down pays the same as a thumbs up. If you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. No, I would rather the thumbs up. I want you all the time, man. I don't even mean, I just need the info. That's why I want you. Oh no, hey, it's all good, Rodney. I'm glad you come on. I'm glad you ask questions. Don't always agree with you. That's fine. That's fine. I'm glad that you respect my my opinions, and that goes for all of you. You know, I don't have to agree all the time, and you don't have to agree with me. Great cast. Okay, thanks, Rodney, and great. We got a great crowd that comes in here every night. So it's I'm really looking forward to this upcoming year. My goodness, are we gonna have a lot of fun this year? And I hope all of you can come along for the ride. Okay, that's it for me tonight. Thanks again. Thanks for the late donation, Patrick. Thank you. Who was it? Edward, for sending me money. I guess you can send money in the. I didn't necessarily know that, but just in comments, you can send money as well after the podcast. I thought that was pretty cool. Thanks, Edward, for the late donation yesterday. That was much appreciated too. Okay, everybody. Once again, a great day to talk hockey. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock sharp. Bye for now.